Hi, how are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. It looks like on my paperwork your name is Emily. Is that what you'd like to be called today?
Yes.
All right, Emily. My name is Lexi. I'm a student social worker at Southeast Missouri State University. Um, this meeting is going to last about 15 minutes, and we're here to discuss what brought you in today and what my agency can maybe do for you. So, my role as the practitioner is I will be here to listen to whatever you feel inclined to tell me, and you can feel free to offer up any information that you would like to mention and talk about or get help with. I understand that you have spoken with my supervisor and that they have discussed the agency's policies and ethical practices. Do you have any questions about any of that?
No.
All right. I also want to clarify that if either of us see each other outside of this establishment, um, we don't acknowledge or talk to each other just because I want to make sure I respect your privacy and we don't break confidentiality or talk about anything you might be uncomfortable with.
Okay.
All right. Do you have any questions about any of that?
Nope.
All right, Emily, what brought you in today?
Well, yesterday I received a shut-off notice from the electric company that my electric was going to be shut off in 3 days, so now 2 days. My husband and I have been struggling financially, and so we really haven't had the money to pay the electric bill. That's why we got the notice, and we really are just, it's really stressful, and we really don't know what to do about paying it because we honestly don't have the money right now. My husband got laid off from his job a few weeks ago, and this past week my hours were cut at work, so that added more stress to the situation. My husband's income is a large portion of our finances, and so when he lost his job, we took a big hit from it, and so we were already stressing out about it. But then after this week, after my hours got cut, it really hit home, and we're really struggling now that we've lost pretty much over half of our income.
Okay, yeah, thank you for sharing that. That must be very difficult for you. So I know what hitting hard means to me, but can you elaborate and tell me what that means to you?
It pretty much just made the situation real, and it was like this is what's happening, and this is what's going to keep happening if we don't figure it out. And it just really made us more aware of how serious the situation was and could possibly continue to be.
Okay. So do you have any other outside support that you could have?
I'm pretty close with my parents, especially my mom. We spend a lot of time together. We talk quite a bit. Here lately, we haven't been talking as much. I'm not really sure what's been going on with that. What I'm trying to say. We got into a fight a couple weeks ago, and so I think that's really why there's been kind of some tension there. But we were really close, so it's caused a lot more stress for me because I just feel like I don't have someone that I can really go to anymore, just because there is that tension between us. And so normally that's who I would go to, but like I said, right now there's kind of some tension between us, so I feel like I can't go to her.
So I noticed when you talk about your mother, you played with your hair.
Like I said, we're really close, and so just not being really on speaking terms, really, it causes some anxiety for me just because I feel like I don't have her right there anymore. And so it does stress me out a little bit, and so I don't really like talking about it that much.
Yeah. At this point, do you feel that you have any personal strengths?
I feel like I've kind of taken the situation pretty seriously and like taken charge of it, just because I know we've got to figure something out. We've got to do something before the situation worsens. And so I feel like I'm very proactive when it comes to the situation, just because I don't want things to get worse than they already are, because things are already starting to pile up. And right now we've got the electric bill that's not being paid, which is going to turn into the water bill not being paid, or the house payment not being made, and things like that. And so I don't want to get to that point.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, then, where do you see this issue as being severe?
I would say it's probably an 8 or a 9, probably closer to a 9, just because of everything else that it's affecting. And on top of the electric being shut off, or going to be shut off, my husband and I, we haven't been getting along very well. And so I think it's just because we're not really on the same page with this whole situation. And so we haven't been getting along very well. We've just been kind of fighting. And so that's caused some more stress. And then with everything that's going on with my mom, and then my hours just recently getting cut back, it's just added a lot to my plate. And so it's made the problem more severe than it initially was.
Okay. So previously in our meeting, you mentioned that your husband was okay with this.
Yeah, I think he's enjoying his time off, and so he hasn't been as serious about the situation as he needs to be. And I think he doesn't realize how serious it is or how severe it can get. And so he's just been kind of not worried about looking for a job, not really worried about how we're going to pay this bill or this payment. And so it's really caused some tension between us and some stress.
So have you had any previous experience with this?
Not really. My husband's had this job for a while, and it's a steady job. It's a job that we thought would always be there for him. And so we've always had a steady income, and so we've never had any issues with paying our bills or buying groceries or paying the house payment, anything like that. And so this really is the first time that we've had anything like this happen. And so I think that makes it even more stressful, is because we've never had to deal with it, so we're absolutely clueless as to what to do.
All right. Well, Emily, I just want to let you know that I do see it as a strength that you're able to tell me all of this, and that you're concerned about these issues, having not experienced them before.
Thank you. We also have 3 kids. One of them is about to turn 16, and then the other 2 are 4 and 7. And the 4 and 7-year-old, they're not really aware of the situation. Like, they're just so young that they don't understand what's going on. But, like, if our electric does end up getting shut off, they're going to know that, oh, something's up. But as far as my 15-year-old, he's almost 16, so he's starting to look for a job, and he's more aware of the situation and what's going on. And so he's worried about having to try to find a job so he can help us with pay the bills and stuff, because he sees that we're struggling. And that's put another burden on me, because I don't want my son to feel like he has to support his mom and dad at being only 16 years old. And so I'd like to try to find something to do before it gets to that.
Okay. So how do you feel about your children, being exposed to this situation?
It upsets me, because I never thought that I wouldn't be able to provide for them, just because my husband and I, we've worked hard for what we've got, and we always have worked hard. And so that's been one goal that we've always had in common, is to provide for our children. And now I feel like we're not going to be able to. And so that's hard for me to accept. And like, I just don't want to put them through that.
So in the past, you actually mentioned your mother. How do you feel like your relationship with your mother has affected other areas of your life?
I feel like it's just overall added more stress to the situation. Um, and I've been having trouble sleeping at night, but I think that's just a combination of all the problems, the tension with my mom, the bills, the job, the tension with my husband. I think that's all contributed to that. But one thing about my mom is I know that if she knew we were struggling, she would be the first one to help us. She would give us whatever we needed, however much we needed, whatever she could do to help. And I feel like right now, even though we are in an argument or a fight, whatever, that she would still do that. But I think it's just hard for me to go to her right now because we did have a fight. But I know that she'd be the first one to help me and the first one to support us in anything we needed. We also have a good relationship with my husband's parents, so they're also someone we can go to for support. We haven't really talked much about what's going on, so we haven't really tried to reach out to them or anyone else for that matter. So, but I know that if we did, I think it'd be the same situation with my parents. They'd give us whatever we needed to help us out, to get us through this tough time. But like I said, we just haven't really talked much about what to do, what we need to do.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned you haven't discussed this or talked about this much with your husband?
Yeah. We've talked about it some, but it just seems like it always turns into a fight because he doesn't have a job right now. He's not looking for a job, and his income was a large part of our household income, and so when he's not wanting to help fix the problem, it usually just turns into a fight, and so we haven't really discussed it much, but I think it's something we definitely need to talk about and discuss and get on the same page about.
So how do you think the fights with your husband have affected other areas of your life?
It's definitely, like I said, it's been a factor in keeping me up at night, and it's definitely affected my my self-esteem, I guess you could say. Like I feel like I can't do or say anything right now to make like our situation better, and so it makes me feel down, and like there's just nothing I can do really. Mm-hmm. And then when we start fighting, it just seems like I really feel down. I just can't do anything right.
Okay. So going back to your children, actually your 16-year-old, how do you think that
we've tried talking with him just because he knows our situation. Like, he's more aware of it since he's older, of course. And so we've talked to him about it a little bit, and we've tried to make him understand that it's not his responsibility. It's not something he has to worry about. It's our responsibility. And so, but I think he's just so adamant about helping us because he doesn't want us to not be able to like support him and support the other kids. He doesn't want to see us struggle is the ultimate thing. Mm-hmm. But I think he's just so adamant about helping us that it's hard to get us on the same page as well because he wants to help, but we don't want our 16-year-old son to have to be paying the electric bill when we're perfectly capable of working and providing for our family.
Oh. Well, Emily, I just want to let you know that I do see it as a strength that you feel that you are capable of providing for your family and you're just having a little difficult time right now. Okay. Well, it looks like we're actually almost about out of time for this meeting today. And I'd like to go over a couple of things before we finish.
Okay.
So you came in today because you got a notice yesterday that your electricity was going to be shut off in 3 days, now 2. You are struggling because your husband, you feel like he's okay with the situation because he enjoys being off of work, due to the fact that he was laid off a week ago and your hours were cut. You are having a difficult relationship with your mother at the moment, but you do feel like that you could go to her or your in-laws for assistance. Um, and your 3 children, you wanted to make sure that they are protected from the situation. You don't want them to have to worry about anything. Am I missing anything?
No, I think that's about everything.
All right. So, Emily, what do you think we need to work on in order to make this meeting a success?
I think that I really just want to look at my options and make sure we look at maybe places that can help us, like help us pay our bill one time or something like that. Just some different things that could assist us right now in our time of need.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we could definitely look at some of your options and things that would assist you. So how do you feel our meeting went today?
I think it went very well. It feels good to get this stuff off my chest and talk to somebody that actually wants to listen.
All right. Do you have any final questions?
No, I don't think so.
All right. Before we leave, I do want to make sure that do you want to schedule another meeting?
Yes, please.
All right. So what time works for you then?
Probably next Wednesday about 1.
All right. That time works for me. Thank you for coming in today, Emily.
Thank you.